Chair and honorable members of the committee. My name is Shayal Nand, and I'm the team leader for the Gender and Transitional Justice Program team at the Fiji Women's Rights Movement. Accompanying me is also the FWRM team on my left. So you'll find Sovaya, the legal rights officer, Selita, who's the team leader for the Intergenerational Women's Leadership Program, and Crystal, the research officer. So before we just get into the 3 points that we have, just briefly on the Fiji Women's Rights Movement. As some of you may know, we are a feminist organization committed to advancing and protecting women's human rights. FWRM for the last 40 years have been raising concerns regarding laws and policies that restrict democratic participation, freedom of expression, and public advocacy. We really welcome the opportunity to make a submission to the Parliament on the draft National Referendum Bill today, this morning. And this submission actually focuses on concerns raised publicly regarding provisions that may criminalize advocacy, restrict public discussions, and limit the use of referendum-related materials. This has been previously mentioned by the other speaker as well, but we'd like to reiterate on it and maybe also note some implications that it may have on women and youth and other marginalized communities. So the first point from us being, this is a very short submission, so the first point being on criminalization of advocacy. We highlight that Section 23 of the draft bill, stating that it effectively makes it a criminal offense to persuade anyone on how to vote. This includes communication by word, message, writing, or any other manner, with penalties up to 1 year in prison. We raise this as a concern as this provision would criminalize ordinary advocacy and limit the ability of individuals and organizations to engage in referendum-related discussions. The second being restrictions on referendum materials. We raise concerns about Section 22 of the bill, which bans badges, symbols, and any visual referendum-related materials before, during, or after a referendum. These restrictions would disproportionately affect women, youth, and marginalized groups who actually rely on grassroots organizing and community discussions to be able to participate in civic life. So the law actually risks silencing voices, shrinking civic space, and discourages lawful participation in referendum discussions and limits freedom of expression. We've had the acting Attorney General mention that the Fiji's National Referendum Bill 2025 is similar to the laws in Singapore and Australia, which limit the use of symbols, badges, and campaigning around voting to prevent undue influence. We make mention that in Singapore, Section 77 of the Parliamentary Elections Act bans campaign materials such as badges, posters, and flags on polling day and the day before, mainly to give voters a cooling off period. And in Australia, the Referendum Act and Electoral Act restrict the use of badges and emblems inside polling places on voting day to ensure a more neutral environment at the polls. So while these international examples show that there are some limits on campaign materials, we are concerned that Fiji's bill is much more broader. And the last point being impact on democratic participation. The proposed restrictions could limit public participation in democratic processes. After FWRM, we reiterate that Fijians must be able to freely discuss, debate, and advocate on matters of national importance without fear of criminal sanction. These rights are protected under Fiji's constitution and international obligations as well. So just to sum that up on what our calls are, immediate redrafting of Section 22 and 23 of the draft National Referendum Bill 2025, nationwide consultations, which is happening right now as well, and alignment of the bill with international democratic norms. Thank you.